In my humble opinion, Swami is no other than the omnipresent divine principle, incarnate in human form. So when I come here, I come to get the darshan of the personal God, the God in human form. And I come not just to get that darshan, to see him, but to also hear his words of wisdom and to modify my life in accordance with those words of wisdom. Darshan is interpreted usually as you seeing the Lord or seeing the individual that represents the Lord. It could be any person representing the Lord. For example, the Shankaracharya, one of the Shankara monks. But you getting the sight of that person, having the form in your eyes, and that person perhaps also seeing you. In terms of the, I suppose you could call it the lowest order of miracle, that is the one that Swami seems to think least important, is the production of objects. This particular ring, he had given me another ring with a large picture, a plain gold ring. I broke the enamel on the ring. And so one day Swami took the ring off from me and put it between thumb and forefinger like that and gave one puff. And the old ring was gone, and this ring was here. Now, I've seen many, many things such as that produced. So I've seen productions all the way from changing a piece of rock into candy to the production of objects like this, which are no different than those things manufactured in ordinary commerce. That is, they last forever, just like things are in ordinary commerce. There's no difference. It's not something magic that disappears in a few days. It's just the same sort of thing that you find in a jewelry store. Baba says that they are simply his calling cards. He says that they are natural to him. They're part of his divinity. It's not that he has acquired certain powers as yogis do and then exhibits those powers. These things, all of nature is at his command. The moment he thinks of a thing, it's done. It's accomplished. No time lost. And so he says that I give my devotees that which they want, so that they then will listen to that which I wish to give them, which is that they should develop the quality of love in their heart and love every person, because that person is God. Every person is God.
He has taught us that prema, true love, should be considered the very breath of life. The love that is manifest equally in all things, that is the love that is Paramatma. Have undiminished and unchanging kindness towards all beings. Have also the spirit of self-sacrifice. And he has taught us to be unafraid. He says, why fear when I am here? Many devotees have experience of the constant presence in their lives, however mundane, of this most compassionate of incarnations.
But Swami did find a dry riverbed for the Shivratri ceremony. We came back at dusk, and walking down the bank from the road to the riverbed, we passed, I happened to be beside Swami, and we passed Big Bush. He broke off a small twig and put it in the form of a cross like that, and said, well, what's that, Islam? So I said, well, cross Swami. So then he put the twigs in his hand and gave the sort of 3 long breaths, opened his hand, and there was a cross with Christ crucified, the figure of Christ on the cross. And he said, this is as Christ really and truly was on the cross, not as artists and historians have pictured him. He had been without food for a number of days, his stomach is all pulled in, and so on. And he said furthermore, the wood on this cross is from the original cross on which Christ was crucified. Then he smiled and said, to find a piece of that wood after 2,000 years took a little work. So I presume that's why he took 3 long breaths instead of 1 single breath. For the West, his message certainly has to be the same as for all humanity. And that message is that God is the architect and the creator of the whole universe. God is immanent in the heart of every person, that only God exists, and that our entire creation emanates from God. And the idea that there are separate entities, separate people, self-willed individuals, and so on, is quite false. And that as long as we are involved in ignorance of that fundamental fact, we're going to get mixed up with all sorts of phenomena in the worldly sense. We're going to get our desires are going to carry us into grasping various things, ideas and relationships and so on. We're going to suffer pleasure and pain, and that suffering comes from ignorance. The ignorance that God alone exists, that God is in our heart, and that essentially man is divine.